So today we're going to be foam rolling the quads. I'm going to show you just on one side for the purposes of the video. We're going to work on you should only ever work on one side at a time with the quads. We've got to remember for this that the quadriceps is not just one kind of chunk of muscle. It is 4 different muscles. So let's break this down into sections. We're going to start at the side of the thigh, then we're going to come into the front, and then we're going to come slightly in towards the middle. When we're coming into the side, we're not coming onto our ITB. If you can imagine where the seam of, say, your jeans or your trousers is, that tends to be roughly where your ITB is. It's a thick band of fascia, basically, and it's exceptionally painful, and there's not a ton of benefit to try to loosen it off. So what we're going to do is come just in front of that ITB area and work on the outer quadriceps. So place the roller down on the floor and then come onto the roller. I recommend that you come onto your forearms. So I'm going to start about the middle of the quad. Both of my forearms are down on the floor. My right knee is out to the side. Now I'm quite open in my hips, so you might find that a slightly different position suits you better. But basically just support your weight. I'm not contracting this quad. My foot is not off the floor. My foot is relaxed down. And I can stay here if I need to for a long time. It's not particularly taxing on my shoulders or my abs or anything like that. So I want you to relax into it a bit. And then I'm using my right knee to help me go forward and back over this roller. So we're going to start with the outer quad. So I've started right in the middle of the outer quad. And to kind of bias it towards the outside, you just roll that leg inwards slightly. I'm just rolling that left hip inwards, so that I'm getting more that kind of oblique angle. So we just want to make sure that we don't take it too quickly, that the muscle that we're working on is as relaxed as we can possibly get it. So try not to contract the quad that you're working on, try to let it relax. Take it slow. And you can spend a minute or two working on that section, and then what you can do is take it a little bit higher up. So I'm going a little bit higher on that quad, and again, just working through the outer part of the quad. So through here, we're going to be getting the quadriceps. If you come high enough, you might start to get into your TFL muscle, your tensor fascia lata. That's okay. It might be quite tender. This tends to get quite tight on a lot of us. Now I'm up on the toes of my left foot, just to help me push forward and back without me contracting too much. Again, I just want to keep everything quite nice and calm and relaxed. This is going to help some of that muscle switch off a bit. And then I'm going to go to the lower part of the quad. Again, I'm working on the outer part of the quad. Now for this, my foot needs to be off the floor to be able to actually move myself up and down. So I'm getting quite close to the knee. I'm not going on top of the kneecap. I'm staying above that. I'm just working with what's, of course it's not comfortable, but I'm working on what's, semi-comfortable. And again, I'm moving myself using my right knee. And then when you've had enough of the outer quad, we're going to work on the middle part of the quad. So let's again start in the middle. Again, my left toes are now back down on the floor. And I'm just rocking forward and back. For me, this area isn't quite as tight. I think for a lot of people, this area isn't quite as tight as the outer part. And again, break it into sections. So I'm starting in the middle. I'm going to go up a little bit more towards the top. This is a bit tighter on me. Lots of people ask me about time that they should spend on foam rolling. I would say really do it by feel. For me, the central part of the quad is not too bad. I don't feel like I need to spend ages here. Good, and then I'm going to come to the lower part of the quad. Push that away a little bit, and again, don't come onto the kneecap. You're just breaking it down, breaking the quad down into thirds. So I'm working the lower third of the quad. Bringing my knee up a little bit higher on the other side just to take some pressure off of my shoulders. And then we're going to finish off with the inner part of the quad. So again, we're not coming all the way to the inner thigh, we're coming on that sort of oblique angle. And you just get it from rotating the leg slightly. So, I've turned my hip slightly outwards. I'm working on the lowest part of the quad, close towards the knee. My right knee is bent up a little bit further than maybe it was before, just to help me with the angle. I'm trying to keep my left leg as relaxed as I can. Good. Let's come into the middle part here. Go a little bit higher. It's a little bit more relaxed through there. So you might be slightly touching onto some of the inner thigh and the adductors. That's okay. Just try and keep it on that sort of oblique angle like we were talking about, so that we're really just focusing on the quad as much as we can. And then obviously for this inner part of the quad, the top third is going to be a little bit more tricky, so we'll take it up a bit. And then I'm really sinking my pelvis down into that. For me, this isn't particularly tight. If something feels sharp or particularly painful around here, back away from it. We shouldn't feel sharp pain, you know, like something's not quite right as we're doing with foam rolling. And this is quite a vulnerable area in terms of vessels, vasculature, nerves. It's quite an exposed area, so you don't need to go too hard on this bit. So in total, you can spend a couple of minutes working on one side, and then you just switch to the other side. Spend a little bit of time working on that one. Foam rolling the quads is really useful for any of us that tend to get a little bit sore around our kneecaps. It's really useful for those of us that perhaps struggle with that sort of hip extension and that using our glutes. This is a nice thing to do after a run or after any sort of workout really. You don't need to foam roll something every day. Regularly is a great addition to any sort of workout or fitness regime. I find it specifically quite useful for runners, just to keep on top of things a little bit, so that there's certain areas of the tightness that don't just build up and build up and build up, and then we develop an overuse type injury. And this is a really good way to keep things in check.